Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. My guest is nominated for a Tony Award this year for Best Featured Actor in a Musical for his stunning performance as Eddie Ryan in the new hit revival of Funny Girl. Please say hello to Jared Grimes.
Hey!
How does that feel when you hear Best Performance
Oh,
by a featured actor in a musical?
It's a blessing. It feels like a definite blessing. I just never would have dreamed, this would have come to fruition after the 2 years that we've had and everything like that. Like I was just burrowed into my lab and just, working on things and writing scripts and working on music, working on, acting, everything under the sun. I was just like a mad scientist working on things, trying to evolve. So I had no idea something like this would happen. Even with the project The Funny Girl, my main mission was to just make Eddie Ryan, that character. I wanted to bring him to life. Because he's now African American. So, my sole focus was just giving him the layers of, culture that would kind of encompass a black choreographer in the early 1900s in the Ziegfeld Follies. And so there's a lot of complexities that, are involved with that, but yet we're in a musical comedy. So my sole focus was to try to figure out how to give everybody the history through a smile and through laughter. And through him being the best friend to Fanny Brice and having her back, and ultimately being a best friend to the entire world of Funny Girl, including the audience.
Yeah. Let's talk about the audience because, we were gone for 2 years. No one knew what was going to happen. All the marquees were dark. No one knew if we were coming back. Mm-hmm. I mean, the audiences love your show. I mean, just being back in a theater again. You must hear it before the show starts. And just the excitement in the audience in those seats. Then the curtain goes up after that overture and you all walk out there. Like, how does that make you feel?
It's
that energy you get from the audience.
It's electric. It's electric. And, after being home for 2 years and being on Zoom, cameras, just to be live and in front of people and sharing and connecting with people again is just, it's a breath of fresh air. I hope it never leaves us ever again.
Yeah. Even
if the world ends, for some reason, I feel like we should still have a reason to get on stage and communicate and share and surrender in front of each other in a theatrical space.
What's made Funny Girl so special for you?
Coming off of doing a Soldier's play just before the pandemic hit, I was like, all right, cool. I feel like my whole thing is diversified right now. I got, After Midnight, which is Dance, 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 Duke Ellington, and then a Soldier's Play, which is, African American history in the military. And then I was like, and then Funny Girl. So I was just like, all right, well, those are 3 projects that I've done on Broadway, and I feel like all 3 of them are so different from one another and what they kind of elaborate in terms of who I am as a multi-hyphenate performer. Who has idolized performers like Gregory Hines and Sammy Davis Jr. This project to me just means like I get to just get out there and just flex every single muscle that I have for all the passions that I have in the arts. And I'm so fortunate. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. Once again, coming off of the 2 years where we didn't know what was going to happen. I'm honored to be on stage with Beanie Feldstein and Ramin Karimloo and Jane Lynch. It's like being on stage is like having a master class happen right in front of my eyes every single night. I'm still learning. So this whole experience for me has been about, being a student and learning from my counterparts and just going into the theater every single day and seeking areas to grow in.
You stop the show every night with those incredible feet of yours, those tap dancing feet. Talk about working with your tap choreographer, Ayodele Cassell, right?
Yes.
What was it like creating the Eddie feel and what you brought to him and just tap dancing every night?
I've known Ayodele since I was 14 years old. And I used to drive all the way from North Carolina to take her tap classes at Steps on Broadway. I used to drive here just for her. And so it's kind of full circle that, she's a choreographer of Funny Girl, tap choreographer of Funny Girl. Yeah. And, I got the part. And one of the first things I said to her when we got in the room is I was like, okay, what we doing? I was like, what we doing? Because I didn't know if they, changed the show up in a variety of different ways. I had no idea what her ideas were for Eddie. And, she instantly uttered the words, John Bubbles, Baby Lawrence, Sammy Davis Jr., Gregory Hines, the Nicholas Brothers. And I was just like, say no more. Let's get it. We got in the room and she reorchestrated this whole part that originally was Eddie's solo. She came up with these new orchestrations that culturally encompass what it was to be a tap dancer in the early 1900s. And to convey the utmost style and class, yet still have that like aggressive gravitas to the expression in the moment. And she laid everything down, and every single thing has such a fine detail in history and culture when it comes to being a black artist in the early 1900s. Every single time I touch the floor with her choreography, I feel some of those icons that I just talked about. I feel them just kind of shoot through my bones and shoot through my smile. And so a lot of the things that the audiences are taking in when they see my solo is them. Yeah. Them, how they've sacrificed and surrendered a lot for me to be on stage and able to smile. So it's just, Ayodele she's one of the greatest tap dancers of all time. And, I ride or die for her any chance I can get. Anytime I lace them up and she's in the room, I'm always looking to make her proud.
Okay, I have interviewed you before this, but I kept looking and saying, I know him from somewhere else. I used to watch you tap dance at the 42nd Street station. And I was like, it all came back to me. I'm like, that's where I saw him. What did you learn as an artist from those times you did that? You were all so incredible. Your whole group that was with you, remember?
Yeah, we had the bucket drummers, tap dancers. We had guys that were out there stepping. I got to New York in 2001, and even a little bit before that, I would come back and forth, and we would go out to the 42nd Street station or 34th Street or Union Square, or whenever my favorite spot when ESPN Zone, the restaurant, used to exist. I used to love going over there on 42nd because the lights used to hit the sidewalk, and it just seemed like a theater. Yeah, it seemed like silhouettes all around, I love a silhouette. So we just got out there and we were like, all right, well, we're not able to get on so many stages because we're all kind of new to the industry and everything like that, but we don't want to let that hold us back. So, what else can we make our stage? We're like, hey, the subways, the sidewalks. And so we went out there and we reached for the stars. We wanted to get better. It wasn't even about people throwing money in the hat or money in the bucket. It was about how we could kind of push ourselves unapologetically in front of a New York crowd who really, they don't have time for you. They're always in a rush. They're always late somewhere. So the fact that sometimes you close your eyes and you look up and there's 40 or 50 or 100 people standing there, and sometimes you close your eyes and you open them up and sometimes there's one little girl or boy there like tapping their feet on the concrete alongside with you. It kind of gave us the joy that I think we all translated to the stage in different ways because we've all gone in our separate different directions. But we've translated that same type of want and craving to share with New York audiences. We took that and we just took it to the stage, or we took it to the cameras. And, that's why we have that mentality where it's just like the stage is like the safest place. Yeah. Just when you're in an active state of giving, especially through your passions and through your blessings and through all the things that you love, when you're in a state of giving to somebody with those things, that's the best place you can ever be in this entire universe. So, every single chance that I step on stage, I take those experiences from those subways and those sidewalks, and I just give as much of that as I possibly can, whether I'm in front of the camera or I'm on a Broadway stage. It's just you seeing me give, and I'm giving to you like, your time is precious. Yeah. Just like those people walking by during rush hour, I know your time is precious, so if you stop for a few seconds just to take me in, then I guarantee you I'll give you something that will help you conquer your day. And it's the same thing when I get on stage at Funny Girl or after midnight or Soldiers Play. It's just like, if you give me the slightest bit of time, I can help you in some way and you can help me in some way. We can both get to where we dream of getting to through that one moment.
Because in the early 80s, when I first came to the city in the 70s, there were entertainers all the time on the street. They were in Schubert Alley, and Tommy Tune discovered the Manhattan Rhythm Kings outside the 50th Street station because they used to sing and tap dance outside the Winter Garden Theater. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I'm going to put them in an act and put them in a show. This is what used to happen then.
Yeah. It was a lot more of it, I would say, in the 80s. But I know in the early 2000s they started coming up with the whole permit thing where you had to have a permit to perform. Yeah, that kind of killed my vibe a little bit. I was like, I don't want to have a flag to perform. Like, I should be able to just lay a piece of wood down and just sing or dance or just entertain if I please. And the whole permit thing, I was just that's when we started to kind of dip out of it and really start to make more of a run towards the stages and stuff like that in New York City. So I don't want to knock New York for the permit thing because I know everything must have rule. But like, as soon as you start trying to put rules around art, then I kind of
It was just much
fade
freer
away.
then. There was nothing wrong with it at all. There was entertainers all the time.
Yes, exactly.
Somewhere you could watch entertainment on the street.
Hmm. And it still exists. I would never, profess to be, a street performer like some of the guys that I see today who are out there every single day. We went out there just to, practice.
Yeah.
Just to sharpen the knives, just to, just
Hone
to
your craft.
evolve. Exactly.
Yeah.
That was what it was all about for us. And we had so much fun. And like I said, we translated that to our, to our love on stages and in front of cameras.
Where did your love for tap dancing begin?
My mom.
Yeah.
My mom was the very first person I ever saw tap dance, and she was horrible at it, actually. My mom was more of a concert dancer, and she gave me my first couple steps, and then she bounced me around to a bunch of different teachers, and I just loved it. I was a super energetic kid, still an energetic kid, and for some reason, tap out of all of the genres, it gave me my fix. Like, it was active, it was bouncy, it was rhythmic, it was loud. It could be so many different things. I was able to use all of my senses, all of my limbs, all of my, my brain matter, my makeup. Every single fiber of me was contributing to, that craft. And I loved it for that. So I started to study even more, study my teachers. I'm super competitive. So, I quickly studied my teachers, and I wanted to be better than my teachers. And then I started studying old movies of all of those idols that we spoke about just before. And then I was like, if I could be a certain version of them in my own way, then that would be great. And if I could, make a difference in this world in the way that they did through some of those films, even like a film like Stormy Weather, like when I saw the Nicholas brothers, doing those routines, it changed my life.
Yeah.
And it changed, the course of cinematic history in a large way too. So it's just like, if I can kind of make an impact on the world in the way that, my idols did, then, that would be amazing. And so I studied them, and then I studied my peers, and then we all just kind of would get in rooms and just create and elevate ourselves and just reach for the deepest, darkest corners of the craft. And I became obsessed. I became this maniacal, as I say, like scientist that, goes in the lab and they mix all these potions and these ideas, and they take everything that they hear in the world and they see in the world, and they try to, translate, those things into steps, into ideas, into rhythms, into colors, into entertainment. And, tap dance was always that kind of thing for me as a little kid, even though as I matured in the craft, I was just like, all right, cool, this is fun. And then it became, okay, I'm pretty good at this. And then it became, okay, I can, people actually are saying that I can make a living out of this. And then it went from that to, I gotta have it. What else can it give me? Where else in the world can this craft take me? Who else can it allow me to meet? Who else can it allow, me to affect or change or elevate in a good way? And who else will it allow me to give to? And then it just became a thing that I felt was my purpose.
Yeah.
So it began to be this thing that I loved and was obsessed with, and I became good at it, and then it became my purpose. And then the purpose for me became about, impacting the world and changing lives, one step at a time.
Finally, you bring so much joy to so many people. You smile on stage, and you just light up the entire audience. People see themselves in you. They're like, oh my God, he can be Eddie Ryan. I can be Eddie Ryan. I can see myself. What that means to you, and just what is the best part of the experience of being a part of Funny Girl?
Oh, man. The best part of being Eddie Ryan and Funny Girl is that, I feel like the character Eddie represents the light at the end of the tunnel constantly. He's always up and outgoing for everybody, and he always has Fanny's back. He always has Rosie Bryce's back. And even to an extent, even though he doesn't agree with, Nick Arnstein and Fanny Bryce's, relationship, like he wants the best for, Fanny Bryce. He wants the best for everybody, even if that means that they don't need to be together. Yeah. I think we all need the light at the end of the tunnel, whether that's a person, whether that's a friend, a best friend, a loved one, a family member, an activity, a passion. We should always wake up every day with hope that we're going somewhere and that we have support for going in that direction. And I like to show up to work every day, and I feel like that. I feel like that light for everybody. Not only behind the scenes of Funny Girl and the ensemble of Funny Girl, and not only for the, my co-stars in Funny Girl, but, I just feel like that for the audience as well, too. I like to think that after the show, people call their best friend because, they seen Eddie Ryan up there and, he kind of gives them that, like, that motivation to just connect with, those who you love, and those who have your back and those who are trying to help you get to the light at the end of their tunnel. And so, yeah, that's the way I kind of think of Eddie Ryan and Funny Girl, and that's what really makes the experience of being on this project so much fun for me, because that's part of my purpose is helping people get to the light at the end of their tunnel.
You're a joy to talk to. You're a joy to watch. Thank you for doing what you do, Jared.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Always a pleasure.
Always.
Go see Funny Girl.
Yay!